Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
Did you know that every board game, every tabletop game has to be political?
Mm-hmm. Am I surprised?
So we're going to talk about this because this is a sentiment that has been popping up, especially since I'd say about 2013, 2014. And, we talk about activists being involved in pop culture. And I think the tabletop scene is one of the most activist-riddled scenes out there, even more so than video games. It seems like, just based on my experience over the last couple of years. You have activists basically controlling every level of games. I mean, from designers to publishers to the convention scene, especially, and a lot of people working for the outlets that cover it, and a lot of the YouTubers that cover it. And, so now we have some examples about how we're going to have to ramp up the activism now, guys, to drive out the wrong thinkers from our space.
So translation is all games should be political and align with what they think. And every game company should be giving them their soapbox and megaphone so they can put their opinions all over it.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so data ends in Y.
Yeah, but it's not working very well because we'll talk about this too. WotC is not having a good year.
I wonder why.
People aren't buying. Apparently, people are not buying the new Dungeons & Dragons. There's more and more evidence that it's not doing well. In fact, Hasbro did not mention Dungeons & Dragons at all in their last earnings call. And Magic sales are down. And it seems like they're trying to pivot it to just being some shitty mobile app. Gosh, who could have foreseen that? Who could have foreseen it? And I think a lot of normies are actually noping out and going to independent game systems. And but I have noticed in tabletop more so than other scenes, you have to be quiet about your political opinions. Like, you're not allowed to.
Oh, no. You're allowed to talk about it as long as you lean one way. If you're leaning the other way, you need to be quiet or you're going to be banned from all the boards anyway.
Yeah, so we'll talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
If you're looking for notifications and you're not getting them on YouTube, go out to Substack, clownshishtv.substack.com, and you will get notified when we post new videos. And if you want to know if you're missing videos, go out there and see. And I do have some I got put up.
By that page, they're missing a lot of videos.
Yeah, well, we were down for 2 days. We didn't have power for 2 days, so I've been scrambling just trying to get videos up. But I will play catch up here on the Substack as well. So let's talk about this because this has been coming up a lot. This is right up there with all orcs are humans and they're misunderstood and you can't use any racist terminology or anything that can even be misconstrued as being problematic. And any of the board games, they hired sensitivity readers and if you're a wrong thinker, you're not going to be allowed to go to a convention. Yada 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 yada. Here's another one from a couple of years ago. Apolitical RPGs do not exist.
I've been trying this crap for so long.
It's been at least 5 or 6 years that it's been very noticeable. I mean, they had Penn State, PSU, WPSU, putting articles out there. They had NPR putting articles out there about how racist and problematic Dungeons & Dragons was, the history of Dungeons & Dragons, because they're trying to change the narrative and they're trying to turn it into something and rewrite history, turn it into something it's not. And they want to forget where, especially D&D came from, that it was a bunch of, conservative-leaning guys from the Midwest, white dudes who created the game. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, we've got this new diverse audience. So let's just, scrape these guys off the bottom of our shoe. And, now we have to be super woke if you want to be part of the super, super duper board game crowd. So this is what kicked this off. This was a couple of days ago. This has been making the rounds on Twitter. And I be clear, do not harass these people. Do not go after them. Do not whatever. These are public posts on a public forum. It's actually coming from BoardGameGeek.com, which is, I believe, a left-leaning board game website. Basically Reddit.
Yeah.
But
this is the first paragraph. Just the first paragraph, though. Oh my God.
All right, I cannot pronounce this person's name, but all the flags. Is this a parody? Is this a real person? First, I want to acknowledge Seguiun Daikin. What? From Canada. First, I want to acknowledge that I'm writing this as a trans white queer person living on unceded territory, stolen land called Turtle Island, and that my perspective is centered around a Western global North point of view, and I'd be happy to know what Eastern global South people have to say about this. Is this a real person? This cannot be a real person.
It sounds like a whole game just to start with. Like one side's this and the other side's that. You know what I mean?
Well, they buy a lot of games.
But you know what I'm saying? It sounds like just they're right about who they are and what opinions they want. It sounds like a whole bunch of game characters to begin with.
That's a lot of flags. Those
are micro badges because you're gonna do some microaggressions against their micro badges.
Do not harass this they them person. I'm just saying, but this is more common than you would think, right? I'm writing this as a call for action for the board game community, for people to finally take a stand to show that we are indeed a community, except for you guys.
Well, yeah, community would imply that anybody's allowed to be part of the community. But what it means is, just from the way they presented the argument, community means people like me. Everybody else get going, because that's what happened. It used to be these games, board games, all kinds of games. Anybody could play. The more the merrier. If you had different people than you, that was fine. Now you have to agree with their activism or you are not allowed to be part of it. The gatekeeper has spoken. That's what they're basically saying.
I think the reason that we don't hear from more middle of the road or right-wing gamers is because they're not allowed to speak.
Yeah, that's if they speak, they get blocked. They get banned.
Right. With the rise of the extreme right, a lot of gamers' lives are in danger. What? Tesla owners? Is that what I'm talking about? Indigenous people, disabled people, trans and queer people, people of color, immigrants.
Okay, wait. Extreme right are going to go after indigenous people, disabled people, games. Trans and queer people of color, immigrants, especially non-white, poor people. And any religion, okay, and they hate Christianity. I always go against Christianity, but it's funny to me because, I know other religions that they leave alone are way less tolerant than Christians are. But they never mention that. It's always Christianity. So
it's white Christianity, according to this person,
because if you're a Christian, you're not white, then you're okay. Fuck you, whatever your name is. I don't even know what to say to fuck you with, because you say you're trans, white, queer person, but trans which way, I don't know.
When we are in danger, playing games might not be in our priorities, though ideally it could help maintain good mental health.
Wait.
Too late.
When the whiteys come after us, the white Christian extremists come after us, we're not going to be able to play games anymore because, they're going to go after, they're going to go push people over in wheelchairs and everything else because they just hate them in particularly. And we're not going to be able to have play games. We're going to have time to play games in our war that doesn't exist. But, it would keep us in good mental health. Honey, I don't think mental health is something that you've been concerned with, from the first paragraph.
When fighting on the daily for your right to exist safely, it's hard to have the energy to play games, to find other gamers that are safe to be around, to feel welcome in gaming spaces, including online. Well, if you're attacking literally everybody that's not like you,
pretty much any white person. But it's hilarious to me. You just got done saying your battle doesn't give you time to play unless it's for mental health. And then you're like, again, but we're fighting for a right to exist. Then you don't have time to play games. Okay, fine. Then why are you on this board?
I don't. To activism.
You should be out there. You should be out there, though, fighting the good fight on blue sky. Everybody agrees with you.
Yeah. So when going to public, here we go. For a lot of people, playing games is a way to evade reality. I agree with that. Have a break, socialize. Yeah, I agree with that. Mm-hmm. But for marginalized people, this comes with an additional challenge. For a start, when everyday violence, racism, colonialism, sexism, queerphobia, ableism, etc., that is a long list, find their way into the production of games or into our collective spaces, it's the collective. It's hard to take a break from real life. Well,
wait.
What?
But wait. They're arguing. Okay, wait. But if you're mad and all these articles and all these things come out that they're arguing against, like D&D, for example, that it was written by these people that are doing all these things, well, wouldn't that stuff have already been by their own argument? Wouldn't that stuff already have been there? So they're like, if it's been creeping in, it should have been. It was according to you. Pick a side. You gamer people like this person have been screaming about it being like this from the beginning, and now this person's like, it's been creeping in. Well, you can't have it both ways.
Well, that's why they're trying to retroactively change D&D and change other problematic games. They're trying to make them safer for a handful of people that are perpetually offended by everything. And look, I'm not saying, your life is fantastic. I have no idea what's going on in your life. What I'm saying
Don't assume ours is. You don't assume people that they don't like our life has fantastic either.
Right. But I'm just like, games should be, and gaming should be a ceasefire zone, right? I mean, I agree 100%. We're going to
it is, as long as you agree with everything they say.
Right, but you're not allowed to be apolitical, right? Yeah, they said
this whole thing is nothing but politics.
It is. When going to public events, if the organizers don't take a clear stand against violence, we can easily become targets. Yeah, I think if going to an event, you say, don't be an asshole and don't harass people for whatever reason, just don't do it.
Because they want to go out and target everyone and be assholes, but you're not allowed to do it to them. You know, I think a lot of times what happens is they go out and start shit, someone else finishes it, and then they're the bad guy.
People might not beat us up in front of other gamers, but they might follow us home using scare tactics against us. The only violence I've actually heard of at a tabletop convention in recent years was Jeremy Hambley, the quartering, going to a convention, getting beat up by a guy in a tutu. That's the only...
At a bar.
In a bar outside of Gen Con. That's the only, like,
and I think
physical
the guy
violence
followed him
I've
to
heard.
find him, to beat him up. Did exactly what this person is describing.
Stalked him and found, right. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's, oh my God. In the community, we often talk jokingly about converting people to board gaming. I can't imagine why it's so hard to convert people to tabletop, right? What I would say is we also have to make sure the people who are already playing board games want to stay in this community. And that starts with acknowledging the different forms of violence we can find in our spaces, online or in person, addressing them and making sure we do something to stop them.
Okay, wait a minute.
What?
So why does anybody want to play with them? Because this person's looking for any microaggression, and every person, unless if you're white especially, any microaggression, any whatever. They themselves admit that they're white. But you know, everybody's a terrible person, and they're looking for anything that you did that they can label as violence, and everything else. Why would people ever want to leave? You know, because you're making it so pleasant.
I'd like for people who have a platform to talk about those issues.
No, we are.
If we truly care, again, do not harass anybody on this board. I do not condone any violence against anybody over.
No, you're just proving them right
games.
if you do.
Yeah, but beyond that, like, it's just games, right? We're supposed to be playing games to get away from all the crap going on in the world, and crap on both sides of the whatever, however you feel about whatever. When you're at the gaming table, you need to leave a lot of that baggage behind, and that's why people play games. They play games to get away from the real world.
If you play with people like this person, they're going to look for anything you do as being some kind of microaggression to target and harass them. So everything you do is violence against them.
Oh my God. Okay. If we truly,
maybe I feel like this whole post is violence against me.
If we truly care about board games and the people who play them, it's time to stop all this passiveness and make sure the spaces we share are truly welcoming. Yes, sounds like it. Not only to light-skinned cisgender men.
But wait. If we truly care about board games and the people who want to play them, which would be supposed to be all-inclusive, and we want people to play and have fun, it's time to stop being passive and basically, you want to be welcoming? Well, usually passiveness, it makes it welcoming. What are you supposed to do? Like, go fight everybody who wants to play? How's that welcoming? That's like contradictive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the whole contradicting itself.
This person says, absolutely agree. Silence is an act of complicity in the oppression of the marginalized. Well,
but you notice there's all these comments deleted. You can't see anybody else arguing against them.
Yeah.
The only ones that are allowed, the only ones that are allowed to talk are the ones who agree. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. I don't see board gamers as passive, at least not here. Just the other day, for example, this is guest starring. The friendly local game store started a fundraiser for victims of violence. It's going well. Go gamers. This is a problem rife in entertainment, especially board gaming. What are people getting seriously? Educate me here, people. Are people like getting beat up in the board gaming space on a daily basis or some crazy shit that I'm not aware of?
Throws the table over, starts beating the shit out of us with the chair.
My dwarf didn't die, bitch. Boom.
I was like, if you were white, I wouldn't hit. If you were white and able-bodied, I wouldn't hit you.
Generally, in a hobby as niche as ours, with a relatively high barrier of entry, game cost plus time to dedicate to learning games and teaching them, this tends to attract the keep politics out of my entertainment crowd.
You mean like people who had it first before you came in and shoved them out?
As they have historically been the ones with the means to invest time into this hobby.
Or they've been there first?
As games are becoming more diverse and accessible, this attracts their ire as they miss the days when the hobby was tailored specifically to their tastes. And this call for apoliticalness is a dog whistle for that.
You mean the people that have been playing for years don't want to play the coffee shop adventure?
There are definitely two different tabletop scenes. There's the terminally online tabletop scene, right, which is basically all the Tumblrites are playing games.
Yes,
and then
there's the regular people, and one's doing
regular
way better
people that don't go online because they're too busy gaming or they just don't want to deal with the shit.
And one's doing way better than the other.
Yes,
I'm
one
just
is doing
pointing that out.
Well, then they try to go after those groups that are, Warhammer is problematic now. It's unfair, to play Warhammer you have to have money to drop on figures. I'm like, well,
wait. Talk about the people that want apolitical are the vocal minority. No. And they are easily ignored in general. Well-adjusted people don't like being around bigots that will shun them. Okay, again, here's what fucking happened. People are playing these games for years. Y'all came in. Y'all decided, you were like, hey, will you welcome us in? Yeah, come on in. You got in there. Then you decided you were the gatekeepers. Then you try to change everything and push everybody out who's been there for years. And then you have the balls to tell them that you're the well-adjusted, non-bigoted people. But this whole first paragraph is basically one bigot fest if you were white, Christian, male, etc.
Oh, God. Tom here says, absolutely agree that humanity cannot survive if everything becomes apolitical to avoid debate. Yeah, but we're talking about games. We're talking about pastime. We're talking about, you know what I'm saying? Like, people play games to get away from everything going on in the real world.
They don't want politics. That's why movies shit the bed. That's why shows shit the bed. That's why gaming shitting the bed. They don't want this stuff shoved into everything. If that's what you want, 5 people who want to play that, that's fine. But don't demand it out of everybody else. You don't have the right.
So this guy here, this is Lars. Lars says, with all respect, and I do mean that, I want one thing in my life that is not a political issue or a social issue or a moral issue or an international issue, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's difficult at times to read a post and strongly disagree and not post something. Recently, I got caught up in that political thread. He's basically like, can we just have games be games and get away from it?
His comment was allowed to stay?
Yeah, he said there are absolutely places where I can take a stand or fight. I just don't want it to be here. And the good news is I'm not forced to read or post. Gaming is an escape for me, a bit of a fantasy world I can crawl into. I find massive peace from it. I don't think it's unreasonable of me to just want this space to be about what we all love. I don't want to be asked to make a stand on anything. And I think a bunch of us here feel the same way. Yeah. I love baseball on the radio. I'm obsessed with it. Our neighbors used to be too. They used to always have the baseball games on. I hate it when an announcer starts pontificating or strongly expressing opinions or whatever. Let the glorious game speak for itself. Just keep to the game. Make me laugh. Give me stats and interesting stories about the game. Let me escape into the beauty of baseball. Right? That's what people want. Not these people.
Most normal people, most well-adjusted normal people don't need political discourse in every aspect of their lives. Again, I said the well-adjusted people, they seem to claim that they are.
Yeah, but this is an ongoing issue. I mean, we're not going to beat this dead horse. This horse is very dead, and so are WotC's sales. But this is definitely the new crowd that has come into tabletop. And, there's definitely a divide between the Tumblrites that've been around for about 10 years, the new fans, the modern audience, the people that, couldn't afford the books or anything and they want to get into it.
Well, they made digs about that.
The
ones who can afford it are the people that are the elitists. And it's like, so you're implying anybody who has money who gets into it a whole lot is a white straight guy?
A lot of these people are all like, oh, just, pirate the PDF and just do, what I'm saying? Like back in my day, yeah, if you wanted to play, it's just like Monopoly, right? If you wanted to play Monopoly, you had to go buy the damn board game to play Monopoly. I mean, you could try to do it on your own or whatever. Now it's like the barrier to entry is so damn low. It's like, oh yeah, pirate a PDF and go buy a $5 pack of dice.
Yeah.
And then get on.
They were complaining about that. Before they're complaining about dice. You have to pay for dice. It should be free,
plot twist. Google, you can actually pull up a D20 to roll for you on Google. Like you don't even have to buy it. Free apps. But I'm also like, look, if you're so broke ass that you can't afford a couple dollars for a set of dice, maybe you should concentrate on finding another job or something. I don't know
activism on a
forum.
Right.
I'm just saying, it's God, whatever. Anyway, let's wrap this one up, guys. It's just, this is the understated tabletop, and it is worse than gaming. It's worse than comics. It's pretty bad, and you're not allowed to be apolitical.
But they're even saying the people that are involved, people who are doing YouTube videos, are like, it is going down the shit horse. I mean, it's just like everything's going down. Their own handlers are telling them not to make videos about it anymore because no one watches it. It's completely flush, and you can blame these wackadoos, I think, for the problems.
Part of it. Part of it. There definitely was. There's kind of a boom in D&D, and then there's a bust, and I think the OGL was a big part of it. And I think a lot of normies,
OGL was, to be fair,
I think a lot of normies jumped into it, and then they saw how crazy ass the scene was, and it was basically infected top to bottom with activists, and they noped out.
Yeah.
I would if I were a parent. This is how we kind of got talking about it. I was a lapsed, huge AD&D player back in the day. Geeky can attest to that. And I wanted to get my kids into it, and I was just like, hey, something's up with WotC. And this scene's kind of weird. And that's all it took. And I became like public enemy number one for a couple of months, and everybody was willing to throw me under the bus because, they didn't like my political opinions. And I'm like, what political opinions? That
your
tabletop should be apolitical?
That statement just basically meant you were like pretty much a Yahtzee.
Yeah, you're basically Hitler. If you're like, I just want to play a game and not talk politics, you're basically Hitler. And look, a lot of these publishers are kowtowing too. They're putting statements in their books, in the source books. If you have Nazi regalia, whatever, we don't let actual Nazis play our game, like Warhammer and stuff. I was like, what the hell? Why do you have to address that in the book?
You took their money though, didn't you?
You took their money, right? I mean...
Hey, I'll give them credit though. At least they said they don't want those people playing it. Like we know other people who basically call everybody Nazis, but then want their money.
They want their money,
and they won't tell anybody what they really think of them because they're afraid they'll take a financial hit. I mean, I'll give them credit for that at least. Are we gonna wrap this up?
Yeah, let's wrap this up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.